And hi, and good morning to everybody from Ken here in Mauritius. It's a real joy and pleasure to be with you this morning. Thank you for everybody that's taken the time to come out and to participate in this learning experience. I'm going to share as much of this information as possible with you from a personal perspective. Now, I'm not a marketing guru by no means, and I don't have a degree in marketing, but I'm going to share the things that work for us. And if it works for us, it'll probably work for you as well. And one of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you is how to generate leads, because leads equate to sales. The more leads you get, the more sales you get. Simple as that. And that's going to be the focus of today's session. How to generate hundreds, if not thousands of leads. And I'm going to show you case studies, 2 or 3 case studies that I'll probably reference, of how we in one exercise generated almost 10,000 leads, 10,000 new email addresses, 10,000 new contact points, and that just exploded our business, just absolutely exploded our business. And it was such a simple exercise. Now, Penny's sitting in the background here. She's not going to be participating, but I want to give her recognition for that very thing. It was Penny who actually stimulated the thinking that ultimately generated, I think, about 9,500 new email addresses. We are overwhelmed with leads. Honestly, we're overwhelmed with leads. Now the question is, what do you do with all these leads? How do you filter them? What do you do with them? Where do you put them? And things of that nature. And we're going to be talking about that exact situation. It's a wonderful problem. Those of you that know Robert Kiyosaki, the rich dad, poor dad guy, Penny and I have actually met him personally. I've met him on 2 occasions, heard him speak on 3 occasions in South Africa. But Robert Kiyosaki says, everybody has a money problem. Everybody has a money problem, either too much or too little. And you go, how can you have a money problem where it's too much money? Well, it is a problem. If you have too much money, what do you do with the money? How do you reduce your tax? How do you reduce the burden that you have because you got this money? And for us, Penny and I, a big thing for us in terms of our lifestyle is we want freedom. We don't want to be burdened with too much or too little. But when too much comes our way and the blessings come our way, we need to be able to respectfully handle it. And I'm going to be talking about that today. How we handle it, how we get this entire process going is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So there we go. We've got 20 people, including myself. It's really nice to have everybody here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I'm now recording this session. And for those of you that are going to be watching the session afterwards, and I know that there are a host of people that passed the apologies to us this morning. We fully understand. I'll put the URL link up and you can go and watch it on YouTube. Or if you have any team members, staff members, partners, or anybody that's not here that could benefit from this, you can just pass the video onto them or the link onto them and they can watch it. Similarly, and I'm going to suggest this, you may want to watch this 2 or 3 times because you can actually slow it down. The YouTube clip can be slowed down, but we'll talk about that in a moment. So let's go straight into the screen share. There's my screen share. And I just need to hear from everybody. Can you see that? Can everybody see the red and yellow screen? Can you just give me a yes?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Now that's excellent. I really appreciate that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to hide the video panel so everybody's faces disappear. Can you still see my face?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is my face still there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So my face should be the only face that's on there, and that's cool. That's really good. And then what we'll do is at this stage, I'm going to hit the mute button to mute everybody, but I'll unmute you when the time is right. So there we go. Time to get straight into the presentation. So what we did is we advertised, we told everybody that we're going to be doing this session this morning, and I called it MAPS, Marketing, Advertising, Promotion, and Sales. And I mentioned in the blurb when I sent it out via WhatsApp and on Facebook that it's going to be my experiences, what I've experienced over the years, what Penny has added to it, what Natalie and Dee DeVette has added to it, and so forth. And I'm going to show you how to generate leads, which you then have the opportunity of filtering. And once you filter them, you can sell to these people. And I think that is exactly what every single organization needs. Okay, now, step number 1. Whenever you're doing anything online, whenever you're in front of people, ask them to send you their, like a keyword. Yeah. So I've got 2 maps. It's the second session, it's maps. Send that to my phone. Why do I do that? Well, there are a couple of good reasons. One is I want to know who's here. And for those people that want their SIOS CPD points for this session, there's a voucher that you can claim at the end of this. And secondly, you can then, if you're the facilitator, you can then quickly gather the people's names, contact details, and things like that directly to your phone. You don't have to actually type it in. What you may have to do is identify the person. So if everybody would, just as an exercise, type in maps. Okay, Danny, Manny, I can see yours. Kevin, I can see yours. Helen, hi, Helen, that's fantastic. Clive, there we go. Just keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. There should be 19 people. Naughty, got 2 maps. Fantastic, I appreciate that. Martin, I can see that as well. George, many thanks, I appreciate that. I can say something else in Portuguese. Muito obrigada. There we go, too many. Miranda, I can see yours. Robbie, thank you so much, got that. And keep them going, keep them going. Noratini Wamkilikeli says, nice to have you with us today. She's typed in 2 maps as well. Now, Nikki, I can see Nikki Gous. Fantastic, Nikki Gous is there. Now, what this does is essentially takes a burden off my shoulders. Because what I really would like to do is I'd like to get an attendance list. I'd like to make contact with the people. And this is a very simple system of getting contacts. Very, very simple. And it works a treat. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples of that. Now, I mentioned earlier on, of course, that we used to run this program as a live session, Cape Town, Durban, and Joburg, and I met a number of the affiliates who are here today in those sessions. Now, to those folk, you might hear stuff that you heard on that program, Cape Town, Durban, and Joburg, Train the Training Provider, and hopefully you're going to get a whole bunch of new information as well. But for those of you that are brand new or relatively new, and it's fairly new, Neil as an example, Clive and Neil, I'm sure by now you would have received the affiliate handbook, version 4. Version 5 will come out next week. There are a couple of modifications to it, but you'll find that this presentation and session 1 that we did a month ago, there's a correlation between the handbook and the videos that we've got. So very, very useful. And I've had some nice compliments of people that have been using it. And it gives you access to every single video we've ever made, most of the documents that we've got, lists of course material that we've got, and so forth. In that handbook, you'll see there's a reference to this video. And this video, well, it's actually a webinar that was run by Natalie, my daughter, and Dee DeVette, her best friend, or very good friend, a former boyfriend, lovely guy. And they did a presentation that took a little over an hour. So as a complementary process to what we're doing today, I'm going to strongly urge you to go and watch this video. If you've got anybody in your house who's a millennial, they will be able to pick up from what Natalie and Dee say, and they will be able to work together with the ideas that they share and with you, and you can get this up and running. If, however, you want Natalie's assistance, she's obviously available. This is partially what she does most of the time. Okay, the presentation was called MAPS, and the reason I did that is that it's an acronym: marketing, advertising, promotion, and selling. And I'll give you a quick definition. I was in a workshop some time ago. There was a speaker, I'll think of his name in a moment. He said, and it's the first time I'd ever heard it, he said that marketing is making things pretty. Making them, in fact, he said, let me use the word, he said marketing is making things sexy. That was the term that he used. Marketing is making your products sexy, your brand sexy, your services sexy. Whatever it is that you're going to be offering to the marketplace, you've got to make it sexy. If it's not attractive, if it's not appealing, you have a problem. Because how are you going to stand head and shoulders out from the rest of the people who actually use advertising agencies and people like that? How do you do that? How do you play in the same field as a major player if your stuff is bland and unsexy and their stuff is cool and sexy? So that was an interesting thing, and I've often thought about that. So whatever we do, it needs to be a balance of attractive but also informative. Then there is the advertising. What is advertising? That's telling people that your products or services are available. Big difference. This doesn't have to be sexy, and people frequently get these two things wrong. In other words, this is what we do. And once they know that you do it, they will come to buy from you, or you can at least go and sell to them. So advertising mainly is a paid activity. But fortunately now with social media, you can actually get a lot of advertising for free, which is fantastic. A lot of this advertising material or platforms and places you can do for free. Then there's promotions. What are they? They're attention grabbers. Like, whoa, who's that? What was that? Where did we see? And that's exactly what promotions are all about. Now, I don't know if you know, but Penny used to own a promotional modeling agency. She had about 150 or 120 models, I think. And she used to be very involved in the promotional modeling world and promotional world. So the big brands would come to her and they would hire these young students from university, and they would go through a process of training them about their products and services. And then, and I'm not trying to be sexist here, they would put very attractive people in a car show or an exposition or something like that. Why? Because it's marketing. The young people are attractive. Obviously, they're going to advertise their products and services, and of course, they're going to promote by being at an expo. So you're starting to understand there's different activities of here. And then the last one is the process of sales. Sales that are concluded, sales where you get your money, sales where you can invoice people, sales where you can ring the bell and say, great, we achieved the following thing. So I found that very useful when he was talking about these different things, and I've just used that. So then if you think marketing, you need to know who your target market is. So who you're trying to talk to. And I've got a very specific target market, and it's different to your target market. And I will show that and share that with you, because your target market is not mine. Well, generally not mine. I'm using that as not as a promise, but as a general statement. So there are 4 things that you need to look at when you're looking at target markets. The demographic, like who are these people? The age, the income group, where they live, what kind of work they have, the education, that's the demographic. Then the sociographic, the way people receive and perceive messages. That often has something to do with culture, background, and so forth. And I was saying to Penny this morning, I enjoy a cappella. I enjoy orchestral. I enjoy deep house as well. I enjoy electronic trance music. Nathan listens to heavy metal, like rah, 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 kind of rock metal. I don't enjoy that. So if the marketing and advertising and promotions is loud and in your face like that, it would switch me off and I'd go to the next stand or stall or product service provider or someone like that. And we perceive messages in different ways. There are some people who are very sophisticated from an artistic point of view, and they look at your material and they go, that looks like absolute horse manure. Just quite simply, they go, not interested. If they can't get their imagery right and their brand right and their name right, not even dealing with them. Because maybe they're more sophisticated, or maybe they've been taught to be a lot more sensitive. And that's a difficult one if you're not an artist. And I'm going to share ideas with you, and we'll just go through a couple of processes where you understand that what you've got has to convey a message. Okay, so that's the sociographic. Then there's the psychographic. And you'll hear us talk about doing a needs analysis. What is it that people want? What do they want? And do you have a solution that's going to meet that need? And that's critical. And that's the psychographic. And you'd understand that. There are certain people, if you say, the law says, they go, amen, brother. Other people, you say, the law says, and they will reject it because they don't like being controlled. Very important. So a lot of us in the health and safety world go, die wet sê, dit is geskryf, and stuff like that. And the danger of that is some of the people that we're dealing with are not interested. And they go, well, show me one person that's been locked up. Just one CEO, show me one CEO. And the psychographic issues, and obviously, should we call them hindrances, could slow down your marketing. But of course, there's a whole bunch of other things. And I often say, I did a presentation yesterday morning. It was a corporate event, and it was 2.5 hours long. And I said to the MD of an international, well, a national hotel group, I said, one of my missions in life is to stay alive. I want to stay alive. I'm like focused. I want to stay alive. I'm conscious every single morning I wake up. I want to stay alive. We went diving last weekend. Nathan and myself went diving, and the depth of the dive was 42 meters. One of the 4 dives we did. I want to stay alive. I want to get to the top. I want to go back to Penny. I want to drink cold beer. So for me, that's a major desire and interest, to stay alive. And then, of course, you guys know that we cycle and we're out on the roads, and these roads are really narrow here in Mauritius, and we want to stay alive. So we take the necessary precautions, and you've probably seen photographs of us. We only cycle in high-vis clothing, only, with LED lights and things of that nature. We only cycle in daytime. We never cycle at night and things like that. And then the last one is geographic. And geographic is a critical one as well, because if we're marketing to people that are not in our region, it becomes expensive. So Penny was just not lamenting, I think she was rejoicing. Cape Town, Durban, and Joburg, when I used to do the training provider, was flipping expensive, because you can imagine accommodation, airfares, car hire, catering, all of those things become very, very expensive. And I've run numerous courses where I have lost money, absolutely lost money. The people that made money was the airline, the car hire company, and the hotel. They made money, but me made nothing. Maybe later on I made some money. Okay, so that's the target market. So what I'd like to ask you to do right now is, in the chat box at the bottom, tell me, just, you can put in a single word or a couple of words, who your target market is. Who do you think your target market is? I'm going to stop the share and we can look at each other again. Okay, who's your target market? Let me start off by this. We sell to trainers. You sell to who? Who do you sell to? Right. Anybody? You can. I'm also going to unmute the mics. Let's see if I can do that. Everybody unmute and you can talk. I sell to trainers. If I'm looking for clients, I look for trainers. Training departments, human resources people. I talk to people that either want to start their own business. We're focusing a lot now on training providers and providing them with training material. Who do you sell to? Anybody? Okay, George says CEOs. Thank you, George. Let's see who else is answering over here. Nikki says to the metal industry, to SASA, Sandparks, and TVET. Thank you, Nikki. Paresh says project management consulting firms. Thank you, Paresh. Kevin says to large companies. Manny says my current OHS clients. Yes, they all need training. Marinda to companies. Yes. To Nati automotive and airlines. Fantastic. Okay, who else have we got there? Anybody want to chip in? Nodatini says small and large. Martin, office environments. Eric, companies and public. Clive says corporates and governments. Anybody else? If you'd like to unmute yourself, you can just add to that. Okay, so having said that, have you come across a term called a gatekeeper?
Yes.
A gatekeeper.
Yeah.
What is your understanding of a gatekeeper? What is he or she, what is their primary task?
Can you hear me, Ken?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Kevin here. So the gatekeeper's primary task is to basically filter whatever phone calls or communications come in for the CEO or for decision makers or anything like that, to see that it's going to be relevant to them and to kind of filter out spam kind of phone calls and communications.
I think you said it perfectly, Kevin. That's exactly what a gatekeeper's job is. They are trying to stop you from getting to the decision maker. That's exactly it. Anybody's experience with gatekeepers where you've been able to overcome it, or not overcome it, overcome the system that they put in place?
Ken, Nikki.
Go right ahead,
yes,
Nikki.
Yes, I've overcome it. What I do is, if I'm not allowed to speak to them or they filter out my emails, what I do is a cold call. And I sit in reception until I see that person that I want to see. That's how determined I am.
Nikki, I absolutely love that. I think you all know the story about Intra-Train, when it started, me walking up and down the road with little, really, really very amateurish flyers. Thank you, Nikki. That's excellent. That's one way that you can do it, is you are just so persistent. I'm sure you've heard of guerrilla marketing. So Penny was involved with the Cricket World Cup, and there are certain people that are licensed to actually promote their product, a cool drink or a beverage or something like that, or a product. And within sort of a geographical area around the stadium, no one else is allowed to be there, and it becomes an offense and things like that. Just beyond the perimeter, these guys go and set up the guerrilla marketing activities. And Vicky, that's pretty much it, is you go there and you sit there. With the cycle tour, the August cycle tour, We used to see people doing guerrilla marketing all the time. So all the big brands used to have their stalls and on the side of the road, but some guy would just put up his tent with a big banner and a couple of pretty girls dancing, and it would work. It would work. We used to have a small 4x4 for our guest house, and we used to park it at the entrance and right next to the railway station in Fishook. Not in Fishook, in Simonstown. And people would come in, and that's like, we're there, man. And we did those sorts of things. Okay, so you understand what a gatekeeper is. Now, Kevin used a term there, and he spoke about spam. So we, the person making the phone call, are spamming the training manager or the health and safety manager or someone like that with the phone call. I'm using that term, Kevin, you used it. And in the IT world, they have things called spam filters. And that spam filter is set up so that it will just block, 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 block. And that's a truth that you need to take into account right from the beginning. Most of your messages are going to be blocked in some or other way, either by a person or an electronic device. So the question is, how do you get around them? I'll teach you some of these things now, ways that you can get around them. Okay, we'll also touch on the POPI Act, because that's another thing which we've got that we're very conscious of at this stage. The POPI Act is there. Right. Manny says SAC PCMP. That's excellent if you could sell to them or to members of SAC PCMP, because that's a target group. So Manny, you've just spoken about, let's call it a professional society. And I'm sure every single person that's sitting over here watching today, you'll know about SIOSH. Now, what an amazing audience. How would you like to be able to stand in front of the SIOSH membership? And I saw recently they've now listed over 17,000 members in South Africa. How would you like, for instance, to get on their mailing list?
Yeah.
You could take your services, your products, and put it onto the mailing list. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. Okay, so there we go. Let's go back onto screen share. Just want to see where I was at. There we go. That's where I was at. Okay, the microphones are on. It doesn't matter. You can keep them on. I don't mind. You can actually switch them on if you'd like. So I talk about this defining your target market, and I mentioned already who my target market is. So you have a reasonable idea of who your target market is. But what I'd like to suggest you do now is you drill deep. You drill deep. Because if you say, as an example, I sell to the government, I'd like you to define it. Who in the government? What do they do? What is their position? What is their seniority? What is the decision-making processes? Who? And I'd like you to add that to whatever you're writing on at the moment. Tell me who. Give them a job title. Junior, senior. You know, I often heard, I was chatting to somebody the other day, they had a problem with one of the major telephone companies, cellular companies, and they're going, these people don't want to listen to me. And I go, well, do you know why you're doing it? Why they don't want to listen? Because you are speaking to the most junior person in the organization. And your target market, if you want a problem solved, is a senior person. So why are you even bothering speaking to the junior person? And in many instances, it's way better to speak to the senior person. So somebody said, I speak to the CEOs. I just want to quickly see who said that. Nikki said she speaks to the CEOs. Paresh says project management. There we go. George said CEOs. Because if you can get through to the CEO, you're going to save yourself an enormous amount of time. And that's going to work very, very well, because they will then say, thank you, Nikki, directors and owners. Nikki also says HR training people. They will instruct their subordinate or their junior to listen to you. How cool is that? Then the relationship's completely different. Okay, so now I use the little GPS pin over here, because essentially if you can pin down who it is that you're talking to, and if you catch yourself not talking to the person that you feel can make a decision or influence the decision significantly, then put the phone down, drink coffee, go back and phone the right person or contact the right person. Okay, so I'm going to just use this as an exercise over here. Everybody knows about our e-learning platform. This is a little bit of a plug, because obviously we want to get as many people through this process as well. Now, please notice that the target market for e-learning is quite different to the target market of those people that you would generally do business with, not so. So if we're thinking e-learning, we've got 12 training programs, there's 30% commission to be made for yourself. I know that a couple of the folk here already are starting to make money from that, so well done, that's excellent. Tell me who the target market is, just by way of an exercise, as to who would you approach to sell e-learning to? Anybody?
Ken, TVET colleges, because they haven't got, all of them haven't got health and safety representatives there. And this is what I'm doing at the moment. All the lecturers are having to do training on health and safety. So the e-learning is a perfect thing for them to do it on their own time.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nikki. Let me put that screen up again. Let me find it. I think it's over there. It's hidden there. There we go. There's the screen. Have a look at the courses that are available. Now, of course, we know they're not unit standard. They are unit standard aligned, but they're not credit bearing. We know that. These are legal compliance courses. Have a look at those courses and ask the question, who? Who's my target market? Anybody you can chip in there.
Morning, Ken.
Morning, go right ahead. Who would you sell that to? Pick any one of those courses.
Okay, in my case, it would be the easiest would be the supervisors and the she-reps, because those are the ones most to enforce compliance on site.
Yes. Excellent. Would you be selling to the individual or to a company or an organization?
Normally the company pays, but in most of the cases lately in South Africa, the company is out of cash. So the individuals rather target this kind of training, and it's done on their own time. So it's excellent for their circumstances.
Exactly. Exactly. So if you look at any of those programs over there, and there's 12 of them, and everybody knows, I'm sure you know, that we've actually got a team working on refreshing all the training material now. For the Fall Track, for instance, that's an online program, but we've got 2 new training programs, Fall Arrest and what was the other one? Working at Heights. So those are the hardcore training courses, but these are the e-learning courses. Who would you sell Invest Track to, as an example? Investigations, incident, accident investigation. Anybody?
Supervisors, risk managers.
Risk managers, yes.
Can people that's dealing with compensation, because that forms part of your compensation reporting as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And remember, these are already SIOSH CPD accredited, so that you can sell the accredited, the CPD point when you are selling the course. And we can issue the certificate from our side for CPD points. Okay, so somebody said risk managers. Just have a look at which courses you would sell specifically to health and safety practitioners.
I should know everything already.
Exactly.
I should hope so. But gosh, if you look at some of the people on Facebook, you think, my goodness.
No.
There's an opportunity there. Okay, so with that, you're now starting to think, well, gosh, yeah, there's a lot of people, new people coming in, supervisors coming in, there's a host of people, and you all know that this is suitable for cell phones. You can actually watch it and participate through the entire program on a cell phone or a tablet or a laptop, which makes it a very interesting thing. So if somebody's saying, I need to improve my education or I need to improve my qualifications, you can say, these are courses that you could do. Now, from my point of view, I learned something from our millennials here, and they said something to me once, and I don't even know who it was that said it, but the term was too many clicks. Too many clicks. If there are too many stages or elements or activities, documentation, in a sales process, the sales cycle, it becomes tedious and difficult to manage. So if you can eliminate multiple clicks. So the last thing I'll just say about the e-learning is that you're talking to a client and the client goes, yeah, as many of them do. And you go, okay, in closing, may I make a suggestion that before I actually come on and run the training program, that we put your supervisors through the supervisory program. They can do it themselves. Then I will come on site and I'll pick up from there. How would you like that? And maybe they'll just go, okay, well, we'll send 2 guys. Have 2 guys attend. 2 guys, foot in the door. Now, remember those 2 guys. We're going to come back to those 2 guys because that's like the fertilizer within the organization. If you do a good job. Okay, so that's one of the things. Now, I mentioned yesterday that I did this thing with a hotel group. It's actually a Cape Town-based hotel group, and I've dealt with them in the past, and I know the health and safety manager for many, many years. And some of you probably saw a WhatsApp message going out, say, help, please help me. I need a live trainer in Cape Town to do legal liability at executive level. Unfortunately, I got 0 response from any of the affiliates, but that's fine. No one. And it was a big ticket item. How much was that, Penny? 14K. No, but there was a double amount. So it's 24,000 Rand. That was the deal for a 4-hour session.
Yeah.
And it just never happened. So she said to me, and she had actually, Penny says, they paid a deposit of 14,000 Rand. And that was in our account. And the balance I was going to share, and we were going to kind of like make an arrangement. And she said, but we don't have 4 hours anymore. These guys are just so busy now. They're revamping the hotels and they're doing all kinds of things, blah, 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 blah. Long story short. And I'm starting to see this thing funneling down from 4 hours to 2.5 hours. So I said to her, okay, Louise, I promise you I will do this in 2 hours and 30 minutes. Tell your CEO. Guaranteed. And you can have money back if it's not there. I finished it exactly 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 2 seconds. She recorded it. Now they're going, wow, we got to use this guy for other things as well. Okay, so having said that, that's enough, a little bit of blurb over there. By the way, some of you, especially those of you that are relatively new, when we get leads coming through to us for training, what we do is we just broadcast it to everybody on our WhatsApp broadcast. And if you pick up on it and you can do business that way, please, you deal with the client, it's fine. I just don't want to see those leads going to competitors and competitors outside of the IntraSafe group. So we do that from time to time. It's no guarantee, but there we go. Okay, back to our screen. There we go. Now, we've spoken about who the target group is, and let's move on. Now we can ask the question, who would the target group be for this HASMAN certificate that we've got? And the HASMAN certificate is for those who complete all 12. And we've already got a couple of people that have completed all 12. I believe Paresh has completed them. Well done, Paresh. Can I just ask Paresh, if your mic's on, can you just quickly tell us what your experience was going through this process?
Morning, Ken.
Hi, Paresh.
Yeah, it was quite, you know, all the information there is something that we all know about, to be quite honest, because we're dealing with it on a daily basis, but it was a very, very nice refresher. What is interesting is where normally we'll do courses, we'll get no time limit to answer these questions. You actually had to think on your feet, and you know, it actually, you know, I'm not young, but it actually makes you, you know, it keeps you on your feet. You have 60 seconds to answer these questions. It was excellent. Honestly, this course has, for me, it's a plus. I'm already marketing it. I've already got a few people that I'm ready to sign up on it as well. So yeah, it's excellent. The 12 courses, and now to get the HASMAN as well. And the way I'm marketing it as well is not individual. I'm selling the whole 12.
Yes.
So right now I've got, I think at least 6 or 8 candidates. I'm just busy getting the paperwork, and then I'm going to be in contact with Penny.
Paresh, thank you. I appreciate that. And you know, that was the intention. And everybody knows this, and I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times from us already, that everything is in flux. We're changing, fixing, modifying, updating. And ultimately, we want to get this recognized by the University of Tshwane, where it will be a certificated course with CPD points. Sorry, apologies, NQF credits. So if you just look at your current target market, and you know, who knows what when COVID's going to lift completely, but I just see this as a wonderful thing that you can do. Set it up in the evening, send your marketing out. Next day, you can start doing the follow-ups. And as such, you can make a fair amount of additional income. It may not be sufficient just to run as a business on its own. In fact, I doubt that it'd be in the initial stages a business on its own. But if it's providing you with a couple of £1,000 every month, it covers the bond, the petrol, the car, the kids' schooling, and things of that nature. So I strongly encourage people to do that. Now, this means that we can start taking a look at the marketplace and we go, there's hospitality, there's government, there's manufacturing, there's transportation, there's all these different industry categories, and they all have a risk profile that you and I know of. And we know that Section 8 and the regulations require that training be done. Now, how do we reach them? How do we take our message to them? And this is where you use the internet. So, you know, for every single person, when cell phones came out, we went, oh, can't do this, can't do this. And now we do. We all have cell phones. We have a couple of cell phones. And in fact, I've got, in one cell phone, I've got 2 SIM cards, a Mauritian SIM card and a South African SIM card. And getting used to these platforms is not difficult at all. It's just a matter of fiddling with it till you become better and better and better. And whether you're on Mac or whether you're on an Android device or you're on Microsoft, doesn't matter. There's lots and lots of search engines that you can use. And it is critical that you get to use these things, because from that, you're going to make money. Just as simple as that. There's money, like they used to say, there's gold in them hills. Well, there's money in the internet and there's money in the marketplace. It is said about 15 million employees in South Africa that need health and safety training. And I heard about 7 million employables that need health and safety training. How do we get to them? Digitally, whether it is email or any other thing. There's gold in those emails, and you can literally, you can take it from me, you can generate hundreds of leads every month if you're doing the right thing. Okay, so I'm going to give you some sort of indicator as to what to do, step by step by step by step, almost as if it's a roadmap, and we'll talk you through each one of those elements. But the first thing that you need to do is become comfortable with Google. Everything's on Google. If you want to know something, Google it. We've got millennials in the house, and if you say something, they check up on us. Genuinely, they check up on us, and they Google. So we were watching a movie last night, and I said, who's that actor? 30 nanoseconds later, Natalie said to me, the actor is so-and-so, or the movie was made in such and such a time, and things like that. These devices are now part of our life, and if you master these things, you can make yourself a ton of money. All righty, so let's stop the share and go on to the internet. It was that one, I believe. Okay. Now, I currently have, and I've been listening to some music, I have the internet. Can everybody see that? Okay. There we go. I'd like you to type in safety, health, training online. If you've got your computer there, if you can access it right now, type it in, those words, safety, health, training, because that's what we do, or health, safety, training. And ask yourself the question, do you even feature? And where do you feature? Anybody? Anybody that's got their internet open, or maybe your phone, you can take your phone and just type in those words, safety, health, training. And let's see where you feature. I've typed it in. Now, I happen to be in a different region, so it's going to give me a different result. But being in Mauritius, I go safety, health, training. Let's have a look. Can you see your company's name here? OSHA Train, ILO, BritSafe, Healthy Working Lives, OSHA Gov, High Speed Training, BCF Group, Croneri, HSE, HSI, ROSPA, IHAT. Okay, so let's refine the search. We're going to go safety, health, training, South Africa. We're going to refine it. Now let's have a look. Can we see you there? These over here are paid for. Look, there I am. Number one. Maybe it's just because it's my computer. I don't know these things. But these are paid for, but these aren't. Number one, NOSA. Then this crowd. And there they are again. And then Global Training, Phoenix Training, MacroSafe, Get Smarter from UCT, OHST, Skills Portal, Course Takers, Shields, WISE, Strat Training, SGS, and so forth. Now, notice that I don't come up here, but I'm also not seeing any affiliates names here. Intercom, just out of interest, is a food safety company, and they rate CPUT and so forth and so forth. There's SIOSH, Safety Training, Absolute Training. I'm looking for any affiliates names here. OHISA, something like that, SafeNet, BOTI, BSI, Health and Safety Training South Africa, Crane, OSA, Briefly, 3M, She Group, PubMed. Okay, I think I'm making my point, am I not? And there I am.
Ken,
Okay,
it's Nikki. I am there.
Where are you?
I'm just going back into it again.
Fantastic, Nikki.
It says QTE Training and Consulting offers professional occupational health and safety services within South Africa.
Okay, so you found yourself. Well done. Okay, I'll give you a digital gold star. But folks, no, I don't want to embarrass anybody. Really, that's not my intention at all. This training session is like hardcore. This is it, man. This is where we're at. Okay, so there we are. And obviously, if we click there, it's going to take us straight through to our training, our normal website, which everybody knows. I'm sure we've all been on that one. So let's go back there. Now, if I type in, and I'm going to do this as a last one, safety training material. There we go. Safety training material. ILO, OSHA, trainer bubble. Labor, there we go. There we are. We what? Number 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the world. In the world. Or at least my world. And of course, Google and the search engines are really geographically influenced. But look there, there's the UK. There I am again. How's that, eh? I'm higher than Wikipedia. Now, how does that happen? We orchestrate it like that. We make it like that. So if somebody's looking for you, they'll find you if you have orchestrated it properly. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in IntraSafe. There we are, Pty Limited. And it immediately takes me to the website and LinkedIn, Facebook, IntraSafe Pty Limited, Yellow Pages, Flying Global, Interpro, things we do in South Africa, Fipple, Enroll Business, Hot Frog, Yellow Pages, CRS Learning, there we go, SandSafe, thank you. SandSafe is one of our affiliates. Gaudet, George, there's your company, thank you very much. Heart Guardians, another affiliate. Team Firewalk, that's our other website. Blue Risk Training, Intra Academy, our online training. How's that? That is just, so in other words, I can, or we can be found, and I just want to do the last one, IntraSafe. Let's see what that comes up with. Nothing yet. And I just want to see if my Google account pops up. Okay, it doesn't at the moment. It was popping up earlier this morning, IntraSafe. So having said that, let's go out of this and go back to the screen. How do you get yourself to number 1 or number 4 or 5? Because you know people's attention spans are very limited, and unless they are really doing some hardcore research, they're going to scroll down 2 or 3 or 4, and if they can't find you, that's it, you're gone. And everything that you do from now on, I'm going to strongly urge you and encourage you to make sure that you get onto the front page of Google, absolutely the front page of Google. And I'll give you some hints and tips around that as well. Because, hey, we don't want to be doing this health and safety thing at the age of 86. We want to make the money so that we can actually go and do whatever it is you want to do. And a mate of mine's just bought a new airplane. Okay, whoa, that's a long way from what we can do at the moment. I don't want to buy an airplane, but I would like to have a little yacht. That'd be nice. And I don't want to be sitting here on Saturday morning for the rest of my life. I'm going to be 67 in a couple of days' time, next month. Yay. But I don't want to be at 77. I honestly don't want to. And similarly, I'm sure exactly the same thing applies to you. You've got other things you want to do. So let's get good at it. Let's really focus it so you can surge ahead. Alrighty, let's go back to share screen and go there and there. Right, so Google is critical. Then there are two things that you may want to put onto your phone. It's WhatsApp and Telegram. Now, Telegram is this replacement program, not a replacement program, it's an alternative program to WhatsApp. Some people love it. I haven't got my head around it yet. I find that at the moment it's got a couple of elements which I don't find convenient or useful. So I've been using WhatsApp extensively. And WhatsApp is free. It's 100% free, certainly at this stage. And it's something that I say to everybody, get to know WhatsApp. And on that score, let me tell you that WhatsApp has a wonderful facility. You can create groups where everybody can talk to each other, or what we do, you create broadcasts. So it's only the sender and the receiver who can talk to each other. With groups, it's irritating sometimes. We're on a group over here. I was in a cycling group, and you got 120 people, and they're making comments and things like that. And eventually, you just kind of like have to switch your phone off. So I unsubscribe from groups. I want to be on a group, but the broadcast is a one-way thing, and I can then moderate that as well. Okay. So here's our first example. How do I create hundreds, thousands of leads? So the story is that Penny and I were walking down the road here in Mauritius one morning. As we do, we either walk or cycle, swim or kayak, and because we want to live long lives. And COVID had just come out, been sort of, people were talking about COVID, and it was, I think, about March this time last year. So Penny, who is very creative and very forceful, persuasive, I think is the right word, she said, why don't we write some training material? Because we received a phone call from somebody in the Eastern Cape saying he had been asked to train 6,000 employees. And he's one of our training material users. And he phoned me and he said, do I have any material for COVID? And I went, no, not interested. I'm busy with the ergonomics training program. Those of you that remember that one. So ergonomics is my focus. So I left it at that, and I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to lose out on a lot. And Penny was walking behind me and she said, why don't you write some COVID stuff? I'm going, because I'm in the midst of, and those of you that know me, I get quite obsessive when it comes to course content and research. And I didn't want to leave what I was doing, all the stuff on my mental clipboard. And by the time we got home, she had worn me down. She threatens me. She says, if you don't do it, I will not feed you. You'll have to feed yourself. And I'm a bachelor when it comes to eating. I thought, oh, yeah, what dang. Okay, let me do this. So what I did is I went online and I Googled COVID training material.pptx just to see what was out there, because it was like the first step in research. And I came across a presentation which had recently been uploaded by the Georgia University, a general presentation, just like a general information session, because nobody knew what the heck COVID was at that stage. So I approached them. They never got back to me. And I said, can I repurpose your training material? Didn't get back to me, but at least I had the email saying, can I repurpose the training material? I downloaded the PowerPoint. I repurposed it in no other way other than to change the colors, put my logo on it and things like that. Once I'd finished that PowerPoint presentation, and that took me probably, let's say, 12 hours. I then, because I've got the system set up, I published this on Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, and via MailChimp. And I promoted it as a freebie. And you're going to hear me talk this word or use this word free a lot. And I then, this is the little poster that I made up, and I sent this out to as many people as I had on my mail list, on my Facebook page and groups and profile and things like that, on my LinkedIn account. Now, I know how these things work. People need to respond. So if they respond, I want them to respond to my website, not to me, because I don't have the time or inclination to sit and filter every single contact that comes through me for a project such as this. And I had no idea whether this was going to work for me or not. No idea at all. So what I did is I used a thing called Bitly. And if you look up top here, Bitly just records through a short URL your activities. So we'll talk about a landing page in a moment, but people will go to the website. There's a link that they will use to go to the website and look at the results. March, almost to the day. Could somebody just tally that up for me? That looks like almost 10,000. My system's crashed. Gloriously. I'm just going to quickly tally it up because I was bragging about how many people we got. Those are email addresses that I received. 5809 plus 4238, 10,047 new emails. Now, I want to say this to you in love, and you know me, gosh, I don't want to offend anybody, but if you don't have a database that you can mine, you're going to find it so difficult to do business. You're really going to find it difficult to do business. You've got to use the tools. And this is one way that I overcome the problem of the gatekeeper, Kevin, is that I send out, and this is permissible because they came to my website, they linked through my website, gave me their email address. You know, this whole thing about the Poppy Act. All of this is 100% non-spam if I email them back, which I did. Well, obviously, when I saw that response there, I spent the next 2.5, 3 months working on the coronavirus training material, and you all have it or are using it, or it is accessible and available to you. But there we go. I said to you that today I was going to show you how to generate 10,000 leads. And that was probably over a period of, let's say, 3 or 4 weeks. It wasn't all automatic. Look, slightly above that, there was another 200. And I do this based on the artwork. So I do a test and I have a look and I see, was there a response? No, 200, not worth it. Let's rework this. And I then hit gold. Absolutely struck gold with this thing. And it changed our year. Coronavirus is a blessing from on high. It literally changed our business completely. We had resources to buy new material, change our websites, upgrade lots and lots of systems, get automation happening in the background, thanks to coronavirus. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm in no way celebrating the disease. I'm just celebrating the opportunity that the disease brought. And as people have made money illegally out of PPE and things like that, we were able to generate money for ourselves and for our affiliates hand over fist. And those, I hear people still running our coronavirus training programs and still making money from it. And I go, thank you, Lord. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, with huge gratitude. And we were able to literally expand our business like never before. Okay. So having said that, not celebrating coronavirus, I'm just saying I'm celebrating the opportunity that was there. And for those of you that have the tools and the wherewithal, I can help you and show you how to do that. Let's take the general health and safety thing as we start off now. So I want to see what the time is. Penny, what's the time there, please? 12 o'clock. Okay, time for a break. 10 o'clock in South Africa. So I'm going to just quickly talk this through, and then we will talk how we put this project together, this whole system together. I heard a presentation a little while ago. It was a SIOSH webinar, and I tried to attend as many of them as possible. And Tibor Zanza, the chief inspector, said something. He said, please don't forget about health and safety. Coronavirus has taken everybody's focus and gone corona, corona, corona. And we're forgetting about the fact that there are people being injured and dying and will die in the workplace. We've got to get back to health and safety. And that's our core business. Everybody in this audience here, that's our core business. We are health and safety people. So if you look at the opportunities that are available in South Africa, there are massive opportunities. If you look at the fact that you do not have to have accreditation, it's nice, but you don't have to have it. Except for those courses, first aid, commercial divers, fall protection, ergonomics risk assessor, and lifting machines. If you look at the fact that there are countless employers that don't give a hoot about accreditation. So amongst the 15 million plus 7 million employees in South Africa, there are countless employers that are not even interested. They don't want to try and get their rebates. They don't care about the NQF. They want to comply with the law. They don't have time or money or energy to faff around with SAQA. Now, if you've got it, golden ticket. Absolutely, I love it. So I do want to say this. There are some courses that you cannot have them accredited. There's no unit standard. It's as simple as that. I think it's like almost amongst our courses is about 6. There's no unit standard. And you can take advantage of that. So we'll be talking after the break about the opportunity that this provides us and how we can put a package together for people. I believe I'm big on bundling. I love bundling. And not only do you get this, but you also get that, and how we can make some serious money from it. So I'm going to stop the share. I'm also going to pause the recording. Where's my pause? Hit the button. There we go. Picking that up. Thank you so much, Eric. I believe that was you. Okay, so are you seeing the screen? Okay, so there's the HubSpot screen. You can go onto it on your own and log onto it or set up the account. But I want to show you how powerful this is. Unbelievably powerful. And it's also a brilliant place where you can keep your learner information. Okay, so now you all know that Nathan's working with us and he's our customer relations manager and so forth. Look at this, new leads, 26. Nathan's dealing with 166 leads. He's got 11 that there's no response. Watch these pipelines. Hot, about to close, 22. Diddy, his wife, is working with some. She's got 22. Very hot, 31. Mine that I'm working with, 59. 30 days from now, 132. The affiliate program where it's kind of warm, it's cooling down, 258. Train the trainer, 95. People that want training material, 78. People attending webinars or wanting a webinar, 144. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is unbelievably powerful. And that's, and I'm not exaggerating. En ek is nou nie te wind gehad nie, ek is van tyd tot tyd is 'n bietjie wind gehad. But excuse the phrase. But I'm saying this is all as a result of the last probably 24 months worth of fixing, changing, modifying, listening, learning, putting systems together. So the day will come when most of those leads that are there have been processed. And we're getting the automation running behind the scenes and the communication, multiple automated emails going to people. Imagine if you've got that happening for you. And some of the challenges that you might be experiencing currently from an administrative point of view, trying to run the business, do operational stuff, administrative stuff, develop stuff, get databases together. In 18 months, 24 months time, you are going to be, your business is going to be a lot better. But you can get this up and running. Some of the stuff you can get up and running by your second or third quarter this year. Okay, so let's go back to share screen. I hope this is inspiring you. And let's go back onto, there we go. Now the follow-ups, there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The follow-ups is you. This is where Nathan and Didi step in the gap. This is where they are going to give the client a phone call, and it doesn't have to be expensive. For those of you that have heavy cell phone bills, please bear this in mind, that WhatsApp is free, not the data, and Skype is free. But we discovered something about Skype. Skype has a phone call, a voice over IP, a VoIP system, which is nominal. I get 400 minutes for $10 via Skype, voice over IP. It's like a phone call. Put a headset on, make a phone call. And the phone rings on the other side and it's got a South African number on it. Now that's very, very useful. I'll tell you where we got that information from. A friend of ours climbed Everest. His name is Ronnie Mull, and he's a major mountaineer and adventurer. And he was staying with us here in Mauritius, and he said something to me. He said his entire Everest expedition, the entire expedition's cellular calls, phone calls, was $50. It took them something, what, I don't know, 3 months or something like that. $50. I went, how do you do that? And he said, oh, don't you know about Skype phone? Not Skype, the normal Skype. And I went, no. And he said, well, set it up. And I got mine at a special, not $10 for 400 minutes. I actually got it for $7. And they've maintained that. Pay $7 for 400 minutes. Our cell phone bill is how much now, Penny? 98 Rand. Our Vodacom bill for 2 of us, 98 Rand for 2 of us. So, in any case, having said that, now this is where the phone call takes place. And this is where the questions and answers, where the analysis takes place. This is where you see what they need, how you can solve their problems and things like that. And then they say yes, no, or maybe. And if it's a yes, you invoice them. If it's a maybe, you quote them. And if it's a no, celebrate. Celebrate. There's a brilliant book called Go for No, based on sales. Just absolutely brilliant. Where the more no's you get, the more yeses you'll get. It's as simple as that. It's a stunning book. If you can download it on the internet, do that. But I never delete a person off my database. I'm like Reader's Digest. Once you're there, because maybe one day you'll buy a book. Maybe you'll come on the train the trainer, or not train, sorry, ETDP facilitator, assessor, or moderator course. Maybe one day you will want to do e-learning or something like that. So I don't take no as permanent unless the person says, please unsubscribe me. And I'm very respectful of that. Okay, so now I've spoken about that a lot, and I trust that this is something that you can do, and you see the opportunity over there. If you see yourself as somebody that solves problems as the primary activity, and you look at an organization, you can go there and you can bundle. And in years gone by, when I was running training courses, I used to bundle. I used to say to them, I'll do your induction, I'll do your firefighting, I'll do your health and safety representative, I'll do your safety, whatever. And I then bundled it. And I gave them a package. And the way I costed it wasn't per person, it was per day or per hour. And I bundled it, and I made money that way. Maybe I could have made more if I charged per individual, but I provided that. Now, those of you that run public programs, you can run public programs on Zoom. Simple, you can charge. So some of you may have come on that program with me some time ago when the new ergonomics regulation came out a year ago. It was the 16th of December, 2019. And I had about, how many people in that program, Penny? She doesn't know. She says 30, 40 people, and we charged how much per person? Okay, 30, 40 people at 500 Rand per person. And it was done, I was sitting in short pants, open neck shirt. So once again, I think that the opportunities are there, and we can grab those opportunities. Okay, so let's break it down. I spoke about WordPress. You can go www.wordpress.com. You can upload WordPress onto your website. There is a process to get the website, which we can do. Dee does that. I don't do it. I know how to do it. I've done it recently. But you get your website. Then it is strongly advisable that you know and understand something about search engine optimization, or SEO, which is going to put you higher than your competitors on the internet. And this is Dee's speciality. Then together with WordPress, we used Ninja Forms, and then eventually Dee said, you've got to become more professional. So we went on to Caldera Forms, which is part of the automation process. Then he said to me, let's rebuild your website. And our web developer is a young man by the name of Faisal, and he lives in Bangladesh. And we got him through a program or a website called Fiverr. And he has built, oh gosh, I don't know, for Natalie and for Dee and for ourselves. He's currently rebuilding my website, my kenannandale.com website, and he uses a program called Elementor. And Elementor, now that I know it, is actually very sensible. Then we got to a stage where we needed to have a shop, and the shop would need to be able to take credit cards and or PayFast or PayPal or something like that. So they've been working very hard at getting our WooCommerce element on board. So you can go onto the website and order something, the client can book on something, pay their money, and get a voucher or a number or something like that, like a password, a username and password. And so I could go to bed and wake up the next day and find 5 or 6 new orders that have been paid for. Now, we've still got to do all the marketing. So let's talk about the marketing. And I'm just going to use the simple example of the e-learning program at the moment. We'll be doing it shortly for our collaboration with Manira from MI Learning for the ETDP facilitator, assessor, and moderator courses. But this is the way I run a campaign. I work it all out. I create a mind map. I tick off all the things that I write down all the things I need to do, and then I tick them off. Now, you could use a lovely free product called, or a program called Trello. And Trello is a project management program. And you can put it all down there, and then you can monitor yourself and see what you've done. One of the advantages of that is that you learn your lessons, don't throw those pieces of paper away until you become good at this, and you can refine it, refine it, refine it, refine it. So part of the campaign is having people in Facebook and LinkedIn and having a MailChimp list. So I've already spoken a little bit about how to get some email addresses, but what I do on Facebook is that I actually go onto Facebook and I run promotions or I give away free things and people respond to me. And I now am at the absolute limit on Facebook of 5,000 friends. They're not friends, they're just contacts, to whom I can market. Then Natalie created a Facebook group for me, and that Facebook group is InteresSafe's actual group. So Ken Annandale is the profile, and then she created the group. And then she created the private Facebook page, which is for affiliates. And now I've got a couple of others. I've got one for first aid. I've got one for CETA accreditation. So I've got about 5 or 6 pages. And that's where people come on. They want to make friends with me. They like the title. They like some of the content. They like the pictures. And I then go back to them. If I see somebody's written a comment, I say, would you like to be my friend? It's just a click. And they go, yeah, I'd like to be your friend. And now we have lots of people. So let me just show you. There's our, okay, so let's just quickly go there. This is Ken. This is Ken and Penny. And this is more personal. So it's a little bit about us, and I post stuff. I'm interested in military history. There was a fire a little while ago. And have a look here. Dirk Senekal and JD Sanderson. And do you see underneath there? You can see Olaf and Nadia and JD and Dirk. Those are health and safety people. And then we went diving over the weekend. That's me, which is really quite cool. And as a result of the dive, we went out there. Look at this, 64 people like it. So I would then, I can literally do this, and I can go, be my friend, be my friend, be my friend. And if they're not my friend, they'll come up as a little blue mark. There, Gurban, I don't know who he is, but be my friend. So that then adds to my 5,000 people. I think it's almost at 5,000. I have to clean it off from time to time. So that's how I get friends. I just post stuff and look at how many people commented about the dive. 55 people there. And excuse me, going so fast. 55 there, 64 there. And 11 comments. And there's my dive instructor, Sean. Okay, then I clicked on the memories. Not a lot, just some personal friends. Then I put this here. This guy is amazing. This is the Kiffness. So do you understand what we're saying? Then we cycle, and there's 17 people there. Then I placed an ad. Not many. Nikki was there. Thank you, Nikki. But 10 others. You see, I can go to those people and see, are you my friend? Then I placed these pictures. This is one of our affiliates. This is Keith Eaton. Keith, I'm not sure if you're here with us today. We didn't get too many responses on that. Then there's Natalie's stuff. Then that's us, 68 people. And what I do, and I call this farming or mining the gold. Click it, run through it, and make them friends. Now, this is just our personal page. So let's go back there. And this is how, there's the ones, those are mine. That's the main one, and then there's the CETA one, and then there's more. So you can go onto other people's websites and you can meet people that way as well. Not websites, sorry, Facebook pages. So let's go to the InteresSafe one. There it is. Natalie made this up for me because I'm now getting to the stage where I've got somebody that can do it for me. She charged me a couple of bucks and just put that together for me, which is great. And she does it. She takes over and runs the stuff. I don't have the time for it or the inclination sometimes. So there we go. I'm just trying to show you where you're going to get friends from. And this is, and I do this late at night if the movie that the ladies are watching, the girls are watching is boring, like these chick flicks. I sit on my phone and I make friends. 53 people were contacted there. This is a friend of ours, Chris Layett. And it's personal protective equipment. Really cool thing to watch if you're interested in that. Then this is at the sugar mill down here. 119 people were reached there, 133 people, 70 people, 48 people. This is a really interesting little thing about robots, completely automated, free walking robot, 184 people. You see what we're doing? This is like, it's there. People want to talk to you. Now, it's the likes that you can go and click. I don't know who those people are. I have no clue. And there was that crash, 258. So those are 258 people that have clicked on our page. So I want to go to the affiliate one. And please, if you're not on the affiliate one yet, please would you hang out on the affiliate one as well. This is the IntraSafe affiliates. We've got 67 people on the program already. I can see some of the names over there. That's fantastic. And I place adverts and or post stuff here. This is about the MAPS training, today's training over there. And then the webinar, because I'm trying to keep you informed as to what the new products are as well, what the new offering is. If you join, we've got some affiliates that have been with us for almost 10 years now. They may not know what it is that we've got in terms of all the new stuff there. Then notifying people of the new Intro Academy with the online learning. I can see 16 people had a look at it. I'm not exactly sure who, but that's fine. And orientation, and this is a YouTube video clip here. So this page over here is an extension of our education or orientation of our own affiliates. So I think that that makes sense to you. So please, would you, after the session, would you go on to this specific private group and tell us what you think? Just tell us, good, bad, or otherwise. And I would appreciate it if you actually told the other affiliates who are not here, go and watch the video or participate in the program or the next one. The next one, apparently, Penny says that she wants to do on finance and accounting and taxation and all those important things and costings and budgeting and things of that nature for affiliates, because we see a lot of people doing turnover but making no profit. Okay, enough on that one. Going to close that down. Then I have the LinkedIn page. And I don't even know where you see how many people are friends on LinkedIn, but this is our LinkedIn page where we have thousands of people liking us. It's a gallery. I can look at what's going on. You can see the stuff that's been posted only recently. Recent 151 people. Maybe if I click there, I can see who they are. And yep, there we go. So I can connect with him. He wants to sell to me. That's fine. I don't have the premium, so that's why these don't come up, but that's fine. But the point is, I can actually download all 6,000 or 7,000 names and email addresses and add them to those 10,000 that I got. Now, this has taken a bit of time, and I'm saying to you, it says here 500 plus connections, just to quickly see. I'm saying to you, this is an ongoing process. Okay, it just says something up here. It's about 6,500 results. That's 6,500 people that are friends with IntraSafe or Ken. Once again, I would appreciate it if you would like it, and then we can gladly connect. Now, that's not the only place that I do it. I have an IntraSafe YouTube channel. And this YouTube channel already has 457 people. So if you don't mind, could you please, this is not what you'll see, could you please go onto our YouTube channel, subscribe, and you'll see that there is a little bell, if you wouldn't mind. Click the bell, click the subscribe, so the moment we upload something, you get it, or you get notification of it. But this is also a channel for advertising, and I send people to these videos. So I just want to show you some crazy stuff here. Penny, there's somebody on my phone. Won't you take it, please? I want to show you some crazy, crazy, crazy stuff here with the video clips that we have created. Look at the views. Now, don't look at the individual and go 68 views. That's nothing. Look at them accumulatively. 540, 26, 104, 138, 111, 94. So we had people come to the website, to the webinar, but we got another 94 views. The ergonomics one, 81. This is all promotion, promotion, promotion. Look at that one, 363. But wait, I want to take you down here. My book launch, 232. Wait, look at that one, 2,170 for the book launch, 10,000, 2.2 thousand, 3.6 thousand, 1.5, 1.2, 978, 50,000 views. 78,000 views, 15,000, 51,000, 38,000, 78,000, 31,000. Yeah, I'm sure I'm boring you with all this stuff. Are you benefiting from this, guys? Guys and ladies.
Definitely, Ken. Very interesting. Thanks.
Thank you. You know, I said I don't want to in any way be windgat, and it's a process. It is a process. And if you want your business to prosper, you need to do these things. In days gone by, we had flyers and posters and banners, and we used to do radio ads, and we used to do all that type of stuff. We used to go into the yellow pages. Remember those little booklets that you used to get with the plumber and the kitchen fitment guy, and you'd put all your stuff in there, and you used to go onto all kinds of platforms like that. Now it's digital. I've stopped with all the ARB stuff. You saw that we were on, can be found on a whole bunch of ARB places. I've stopped with that because you've got to manage it. And to me, there's things like Snuppet and so forth. It's too much work. So I'm just focusing on the big ones. I don't tweet, and I don't do Instagram, and I don't do Pinterest and things like that. Maybe that's something that you want to do. Instagram could be a very good place to be. I don't do, what's it called, TikTok and things of that nature. But it's too much hard work. And I'm not going to pay Natalie to do it for me. She earns a little bit from us every time she posts. There's a small fee that she earns, and she earns from us every time she posts. And then she says to me, how did it go? Well, how do we know how it went? Bitly. Bitly tells me whether it works or not. And there used to be an old saying that all advertising works, we just don't know which part of it works. Or half the advertising works, I think, something like that. What was that statement? Half of all advertising works, we don't know which half. Now you can see which half. Okay, so there is also a thing called MailChimp, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. Let me just see the comments over here. George says, it's a great refresher from the Train the Trainer course. Yeah, so many applications to, yes, absolutely. So many applications to take advantage of.
Oh,
Nati says, definitely. Skype calls work well, use it all the time. Well done, Nati, and it's so cost effective. Mirinda says, sorry, I have to leave, catch up with the team, that's fine. Nikki says, you forgot to hit the recording button. You're darn right, Nikki, but we've hit it now. Thank you very much, Nikki. Appreciate that. Okay, so let's go back onto screen share and carry on with the process. We're getting there. So now you understand the campaign, what's happening behind the scenes and things like that. Now, part of the process is I want people to communicate with me. So not only do I send it out in the normal kind of like digital marketing sense, I also use WhatsApp extensively. So currently, I don't know how many people I've got on WhatsApp. It's easy enough for me to look at, and I can tell you how many people are on WhatsApp. But the people that are on WhatsApp can then receive a message from me. How cool is that? So I use this little trick. I get them to send me a word or an acronym, and they can then send me their number. And you can search for that word on WhatsApp. How cool is that? So whenever I run training programs, and I don't anymore, I mean, this hasn't happened for a long time now. Haven't been in the classroom for a long time, unfortunately. But I say to people right now, for a free copy of my, and it's normally a digital book, so it's no expense involved, a little bit of time, send me a WhatsApp message that says 1 minute safety manager. And out of a classroom, the top left corner over here was at Somchem. The right-hand side one was, in fact, the last training provider that we ran in Cape Town. The bottom one down, left-hand side bottom corner here was a finance company, and we did a whole team building thing for them. It wasn't a health and safety thing, but I still wanted their names. The young ladies on the right-hand side, I told you Penny had a promotional modeling agency, did some work with a client down in Durban. No, sorry. That was, in fact, the Durban Train the Training provider.
Yeah.
George, I think you were at that one. And remember, the models arrived, all the pretty girls arrived at the front entrance. We took photographs with them.
Yes, yeah.
So I took advantage of the fact that these young girls were there, and you can collect names and numbers like that. This one was fascinating because I told you just now, I said, how would you like the SIOSH attendance list? So that's the SIOSH conference over there. And I was the chairperson. In fact, that's me over there. No, that was Niels. I spoke at this one. That was 2019. So I wanted the names and contact details for all of these people. And I said to them, if you send me your number now, I will send you a free copy of my digital book. And I got over 350 contacts directly from the SIOSH group. In fact, I asked them to send me the name and email address because the number would automatically come through. And I've spoken to SIOSH, I have chaired their conference and so forth. The top right corner over here is in fact AOSH, which is the annual expo that takes place at Gallagher in conjunction with SIOSH. And we use exactly the same thing. Hand out a business card and I say to the person, there's my number, please send me your number on the business card. Now, easier because they now have a scanning device and you can just scan the business card. But in that way, you kind of strategize it so that you're collecting detail. Now we have all this detail, you know what we've been talking about. Now what do we do with it? Well, it goes into WordPress. I told you about that. It sends the emails to me, tells me where and when. It puts the emails into my Outlook or my Gmail, depending on what we want. I prefer Outlook because I can work with the Gmail. I have to log on again, and that's another click that I don't like. And then it sticks it all into HubSpot. And you saw those leads, folks. I'm not trying to BS you at all. This is not going to happen overnight, but within the first quarter, you could have 400 or 500 names and leads over there, which you could work with. Then the processes start working, and you can see how the activity, the positive, constructive, potentially profitable activity is starting to take place in the background. The mechanism is working for me. It took a bit of time to set up, but we'll work through it with you. If you want to chat to Dee and Natalie, that's fine. And Automate, I told you about that. That's just brilliant, 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 brilliant. And Automate is paid for. We actually have a subscription on that. It's not cheap, but if I just think of what it would cost me to have people working in the background, this whole process has probably eliminated 5 or 6 people. And they get on with the job. The automation gets on with the job. I told you about how it populates the e-tools. So it comes through to my email. It goes through to my Google Contacts. It's automatically stuck onto my WhatsApp numbers over there. Google Contacts is just phenomenal. So I just want to show you what it looks like. It is, oopsie, it is just really amazing. Let me just quickly do that. And I'm going to go on to screen share. Hopefully I can still open that. There we go. And Google, I didn't know how powerful it was. Look at all the Google activity here. Google Drive is where we're storing all the training material. Google Contacts is where all the telephone numbers come. Google Search is obviously the search engine. Google My Business. Let's see what happens when I click that. So even if you don't have a website, you can have a website. There it is. That's on Google, Google My Business. And in fact, what Natalie says is even if you've got a website, you've got to be on Google My Business. Then over here, and there's wonderful, simple tutorials that you can use of you. Google Maps, Google Play, Gmail. And I said to you, I don't particularly like that, but there's my Google Calendar. I use it all the time. There's Google Translate, Google Photos, Duo, which is a communication system, Meet. I haven't used that, News, and so forth. And we've got all these other things. So I just want to go to Google Contacts. There's my contacts over there. Okay, there's ICE, that's in case of emergency. There's Natalie, my Deirdre, my daughter-in-law, John, my brother, and Penny and Tim, my brother-in-law. And I then have a system over here. If you look at the numbers here, these numbers denote an activity. So if, for instance, I did a free thing the other day and got about 600 people saying, I want your free book, the Power Pack Presentation Skills ebook. I can only see these at the moment, but I categorize them. So I can search for them. I can see who all are my Power Pack Presentation Skills interested users. These people may one day want to attend the facilitator course. Hope that makes sense to you. Or I've got little things. I look at the left-hand side of the keyboard and I go QQQ. Those are my hot ones. Look, Sun International, and so forth. Or I've got one that AW, which is the affiliate webinar. And there's webinar number 2. And these are my leads. I can go back to them. I can talk to them. I can send them WhatsApp messages and so forth. So Google Contacts is phenomenal. So let's just use Darren. Those of you that know Darren. Where's Darren? I carry this information around with me in my pocket. I've got his email addresses. I've got his telephone number. I know what his title is. I can edit it. You can see, I don't have his website there, but there's his telephone numbers and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. Okay, so let's stop share. And okay, is this making sense to you?
Yes.
It might be a little bit overwhelming at the moment, but don't worry about that. All of this is literally, if you ask me, could I learn to service a Cessna engine? The answer is yes. But I'd have to go through the courses and read the manuals and do all that type of stuff. And after a year or 2 or 3 or 4, I could maybe service an aircraft engine. This is not nearly as difficult as that. This is just a process, and you just do it systematically, one step at a time. So let's just go back to the presentation. And I wanted to show you Google Contacts and how powerful this Google Contacts thing is. I like it. I mean, I get quite excited. Okay. One of the things it does not do, Google Contacts does not notify you that there is a new number. So what you have to do, what I have to do, is I just go on to HubSpot. And on HubSpot, it's got company details as well as contact details. And I can click on the contacts and see who the latest contacts were. Then, of course, we've spoken about, we can message them in a variety of ways. And of course, nowadays, we can Zoom them as well. And Zoom, to me, is now just a common, everyday tool that we use. And the very last thing in this process, which we've not hooked up yet, this is going to be part of the automation, possibly, is our accounting package. Now, we work with a company called FinSolve, and we currently, Penny uses Sage as the accounting package. Penny will hopefully get Gavin, our accountant, on the next Saturday morning webinar, just to talk about what accounting procedures, packages, information, what you need to be careful of, what you need to have in place, all of those sorts of things. And we're looking currently at this product called Zero, but no decisions at this stage. We're on Sage. Sage does a whole bunch of things for us, such as quotations and invoices and stuff like that. And with that, you now have a host of tools that can possibly help you get your business together. I'm going to start wrapping up by just giving you a couple of examples. And when talking to some of these young people in the know, I said, how often should we be posting? Well, the truth of the matter is every day. You need to be out there every day, but you can't afford to do that because you've got other things to do. So once a week, at least a minimum of once a week. Post, and you can decide where you're going to post. Even if you only currently have 121 people, doesn't matter. Create the page or create the group and start posting. And then the bit of advice that they said is, don't spam the people with sales, 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 sales. Advertise, 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 advertise. People get irritated with that. So it's a ratio of 2 free things, 2 free, 1 fee, 2 free, 1 fee, 2 free, 1 fee. Now, what do we mean by free? Webinars. I'm going to encourage you to run your own webinars. We've got the tools, free and easy. Or if you don't want to run the webinars at this stage, bring them along to ours. Just tell your clients, we have a webinar that's going to be on the subject, and why not? And you can do that. We'd happily host them there. And then you are seen to be giving them a decent service. I'm not sure how that one got in there, but let's just quickly. Okay, yeah, I do know. Apologies, I'm running ahead. I pushed, there we go. Okay, so every single person that was there, I know what I was going to say. That's it. Let's go back one. We said webinars. Where do I get the people from? From the lists. And every single person that was there gets an invitation to go to the webinar. So it's not difficult. They know me. They like me. They gave me their details for free. It's not a poppy issue anymore. I'm not spamming the people. And now they come to the webinars. And the webinars have been growing. And you saw on the YouTube channel how many people have been watching certain things. I mean, 78,000 likes on an inane little video that I made a couple of years ago is great exposure. It's just phenomenal exposure. Then, of course, we do the sales presentations online. And those sales presentations is most probably how most of you came on board. So I want to just show you, this is one, it's not going to run long. So I want to see if it works. There's no audio to it, quite deliberately. These are the PowerPoint slides that I show once a week on a Wednesday morning to gain more clients. So I've got the database, I let them know, I do this presentation, I know it off by heart now, and I can take this presentation and record it via Zoom. So all the audio is there, and I could do this in under 30 minutes, and I can then WhatsApp this PowerPoint presentation, which has been turned into a video. I can WhatsApp it to those people that sent me their WhatsApp numbers. And I do that regularly. And occasionally somebody says, don't spam me. More often than not, they say, thanks for keeping me up to date. And that was a sales presentation. I put this thing together, the PowerPoint I put together over a period of time, but there we go. That's what we offer. How much time did that save me? It saved me countless hours on the phone. So somebody phones up and says, not this one, please note, this one has no audio, but the actual recording, they say, can you tell me more about your organization? I go, absolutely, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to send you a URL, watch the video, well, I'll send you the video, and I'm going to send you the proposal. Please read them. Once you have read them, come back to me, send me a WhatsApp message. And I'll tell you why I do that, is I want to be the gatekeeper. I don't want to be spammed by every single Dick, Tom, and Harry who thinks it's a cool idea to want to be a trainer, but they don't have the money, they don't have the resources, they don't have the capacity to run a business yet. So I filter the people by sending this information. What has happened is that it often happens that they send this presentation to the decision maker. Some of you were on the webinar with Dale Kennedy, and we did a webinar on ergonomics, and it was free. And I think this one was one of the better ones that we had. We had about, I think about 60 people at this one. Then I send out free posters as well. I made up these posters in PowerPoint and I send them out. Would you like, remember I said you've got to have a landing page. Would you like a free CPR poster? And they go, yes. Click on the bit.ly link, takes them to the landing page. They fill in the form. I collect the email address and automatically they have access to the poster, which they can download. Simple. No problem whatsoever. I did this on the 3rd of March, and just the other day, Wednesday morning, who knew? Wednesday at lunchtime, 1 o'clock lunchtime, people stop work and they attend the webinar. I didn't know that. I actually learned that lesson from Sayash because they do their seminars and the webinars during the daytime. I used to do them in the evenings, but people have Wi-Fi at work, so they do it like that. Then with the asbestos abatement regulations, did exactly the same thing, except I said, would you like a copy of the regulation? I got the copy, the PDF file from the government printer, put it onto our website. They would go onto the landing page. They would click on the landing page. Well, in fact, they would click on the advert on Facebook or wherever. There's the bit.ly link, asbestos reg, ASB reg. And it would take them to the landing page. They would be able to download it. I now have the email address. Exactly the same when we brought out new training material, and I'll be doing the same with the dangerous goods on the road workshop material, training material. Sure, folks, I said to you that I was going to do this in like 2.5, 3 hours. It is actually 2.5 hours now, and I need to take a sip of water. And what I'm going to do now is, I trust that this has been beneficial, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up and just have anybody share, talk, whatever it is that you'd like to talk about. Honestly, I don't think I'm ever going to stop learning. I'm enjoying this stuff. I'm enjoying the journey. I'm loving every moment of it. Every day I learn something new. Wow. There's so much on YouTube. There's just so much stuff there that we can take advantage of. And thank you, Nikki. I see you. Ken, you blew my mind with all the ways to gain a data list. Absolutely. You know, I read a lot. Well, when I say I read a lot, I don't actually read many books anymore, but I listen at high speed to videos. And because you can speed it up on YouTube, and I listen and listen and listen and listen. Penny knows, as you've heard me saying this, is not to brag, but I get up early, sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I will watch maybe for an hour, and I will look at what these millennials are doing, so I can talk the same language with them. Love it. And then when my daughter Natalie or Dee or Nathan or somebody says something, I have a reasonable idea as to what they're talking about. One last thought before I open the mics completely. If you don't have a website, I can't imagine not having, if you had a shop, not having signs outside your door. If you have a shop and you don't have a sign outside the door, how do you find the place? You've got to have a sign outside the door, and you've got to have some sort of way of interfacing with the public so that they know this is your shop. And that's your shop front is your website. But you do not have to have these convoluted, long-winded websites. Some of these websites are just simple, easy to put together, and informative. Then from there, you stand a chance of being found. Now with D, what he does is he kind of makes sure that we can be found. And I've got a whole bunch of homework that he's given me that I've got to do, which is fine. But please, 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 you would never in a million years, not if I said to you, can I have your username and password for your F&B account? You'd go, nee, glad nie, hel nee, vergeet. Not so. Okay, not it. Why don't you just WhatsApp me your Capitec account details quickly? Send it to 082-9208. You go, no man, as you know, skoon bevoeterd. I think that's a good Afrikaans word. Why do you let the web developer keep your username and password? Why? You cannot believe how many people have been screwed over because the web developer holds them by the ankle. They own your website. They own your business. They own your marketing mechanism because some young web developer says, I will set it up for you, but you never get the username and password and you never change it. That little web developer, and I say little web developer because I've seen some horrible stuff here, really horrible stuff. There's a person who we're dealing with at the moment. I have huge respect for her. Her web developer has her over a barrel. Absolutely over a barrel. And it's her company name. How's she going to get her company name back? And now he's blackmailing her. Genuinely, Penny can just, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but Penny can tell you, this web developer is blackmailing her. We've been talking to her for about 4 months. She still hasn't got her website up and running. Again. Then I went onto the website because I've been checking on it, and he is now, I don't know how they do it, he has a link to a porn site. So if you type in her company name, you get all these pretty girls. Now that could be fun, but not for the client. Fun for the guys. It is absolute blackmail. You have to own that information. And I see Manny laughing there. It looks as though you've had some experience there, Manny. Tell us what your experience was with web developers. They're like flipping pirates.
Hi, I'm back on air.
Yes, you are.
Okay, cool. No, not much experience. Exactly like you said, they keep your passwords and they keep all your information, and then they hold you by a string. But I found a website which I don't know if you've had any experience with, a group called Wix, W-I-X.
Yes.
And it's rather interesting and easy to create a web page via these guys. All right, you're limited unless you start paying fees and so forth. But even on the limited base, it's actually excellent to use that kind of platform to get off on the start. And later, obviously, you can buy into them and then, you know, have a better facility, if you want to call it, you know, like the premium facility.
Yes.
But for the start off, Wix seems to be an interesting thing. I don't know what the other affiliates have experienced so far. This is my experience that I'm talking about.
Completely. There's a couple of them that you can actually do that with, and I'm not familiar with them anymore. What my concern is, if anything, is that I wanted to get away from developing my own website, because I found myself spending hours and hours and hours trying to refine it and fix it, change it, modify it, and read up about SEOs and stick this in, stuff like that. There is something that I picked up now recently, just as an aside. The ETDP trainers in South Africa get a not trainers, sorry, service providers get a number, 1 2 3 4 5 and stuff like that. There is an ETDP training provider who has hijacked all their numbers.
Not good.
Not good. So what he's done is he's hidden because you can get lists of who's accredited providers. He's hidden these numbers in web pages. So the URL would be ETDP facilitated training number 1 2 3 4 5, which happens to belong to ABC training establishment. I found about 5 or 6 like that, and I'm an ex-cop, so I like this type of stuff. The investigation. He's stolen it. How's that? So I was saying the last bit of information before we open the microphones is this. Your website, your intellectual property, your presence online, all of these things is absolutely precious to you. Precious, precious, precious. And take ownership of those. Username and passwords, Nati, must go into the safe. Somebody that knows how needs to change it once your website's up and running so that you, Nati, and Erica, and your son and daughter, and whoever else is close to you, that they can change it, not the web developer. Because that means you can actually take the website and hand it to somebody else if the web developer tries to do what he's doing to this training provider. So that I say. And then at this stage, let me just quickly check the time, how we're doing. 2:36, and there was a short period when it was not recording. So what I want to do now is I'm going to start wrapping up on my side, and then I'm also going to ask that you open up your mics, and let's just open to anybody and everybody to discuss. How do I do that once again? Let me just quickly do that. I'm going to end off the recording and then we can just discuss everything. So I want to say to everybody that's participated, don't go away. We'll open up the microphones and we will continue with the discussion over here. And if you need any more information, please don't hesitate to call me. And if you need a copy of this presentation for whatever it's worth, there's no intellectual property over here. Just let me know and I can send you the actual PowerPoint so that you can work with it by way of notes. I can do it as a Word for Windows, sorry, as a PDF file. And then you can just work through it so that you've got step 1, step 2, step 3. Would you like that? Would that be good for you?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so let me do that. I will save it as a PDF, and everybody that's here, I will send it to you, and you can then take it and you can work with it. So from Penny and myself, thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday morning. Really appreciate that. We'll take questions and answers after we stop the recording, and we'll see you at the next ABO, which I think takes place on the 10th of April, 2 days before my birthday. So from Ken and Penny on this side here in Mauritius, God bless, look after yourselves, have a great weekend, and